We use these quantifiers with nouns. Before we look at quantifiers, let's look at how we use nouns. We can separate nouns into two groups. We have countable nouns and uncountable nouns. With countable nouns, these are the nouns that can be counted. So we can put a number in front of the noun. And these nouns can be plural. We usually make these nouns plural by adding an S, and they're called regular nouns. Okay, let's look at some examples. Astronaut, plural, astronauts. Computer, computers. Idea, ideas. Day, days. Invention, inventions. Planet, planets. Disease, diseases. Some countable nouns are irregular because we do not use an S to make them plural. Look at these examples. Child, children. Woman, women. Man, men. Tooth, teeth. Foot, feet. Fish stays the same, fish. Mouse and mice. Now, the other group of nouns is called uncountable because we use them for things we can't usually count. So these are nouns that we cannot count. We cannot put a number in front of them. Uncountable nouns. All right, here are some examples of uncountable nouns. Space, traffic, fuel, water, air. Information. When we use these nouns, we never add an S because they are not plural. They're not countable. Let's look at some sentences using some of these nouns we just reviewed. Astronauts will travel to many other planets in the future. All the information will be on computers. Scientists are going to invent new machines. We will discover new kinds of fuel. There will not be any air on the moon. People are going to work on space stations. Let's look at some quantifiers that we often use when we speak about the number of people or things. Okay, take a look at your screen. All, most, a lot of, lots of, many, much, some, any, a few, a little, few, little, none. Now, let's look at some graphics explaining these quantifiers. Take a look. So first we have all, which is 100% of something. So all of it, everything. Then just below all, we have almost all, but we call it most. So about 90%. Just below most is many or much. Many is used with countable nouns, much with uncountable nouns. And it's about 7 to 80%. Below that is some, about 50% of something. A few or a little. So a few used with countable nouns. A little used with uncountable nouns, maybe 30%. And below that, few or little. And then 0%, we have none or no one. Now, here are some sentences using these quantifiers. All of us will die one day. Most people say that they will get married. Many people will learn how to drive a car. Some people will have large families. A few people will not get married. Few people are going to have more than 10 children. No one is going to live until they are 300. Now, most quantifiers can be used with any noun, countable or uncountable. But some quantifiers can only be used with countable nouns, and some can only be used with uncountable nouns. So we use many with countable nouns, but we don't use many with non-countable. We use much with uncountable nouns. Okay, when we ask questions, we usually say how much or how many. To is always used with negative ideas. So if we are saying something is too much or too many, it's negative. It's so much that it's bad. Let's look at these sentences. How many astronauts will travel to Mars? How much time will it take to travel to Mars? Okay, we only use a few or few with countable nouns. And then we use a little or little with uncountable nouns. When we say a few or a little, this usually has a positive meaning when it is used with a positive idea. For example, take a look. He has a few friends. He has a little money. Money and friends are positive ideas. So a few means enough. When we say a few or a little, this usually has a negative meaning when we are talking about negative ideas. Take a look at these examples. They have a few problems, or we have a little pain. So problems and pain